The station where our veterans' voices are heard. MBR Talk.
Hey, thanks for supporting our channel by watching and listening.
Find us on the web at mbradio.us.
Desde Brooklyn hasta el sol del Medio Oriente, Jose Flores con fuego en la mente. Raised in the Bronx where dreams don't sleep, donde el hambre te enseña a resistir. Section 8 life, no handouts, no cheat. He built his power from the pain on the street.
Cada golpe, cada lágrima caída fue el fuego que encendió su vida. Ahora camina con propósito y gozo. Jose Flores, hear the noise. De la calle al combate, turn his trials into faith. Con disciplina y con fe, now he rises every day. From the black to the world sin temor.
You ever need a haircut?
So
that these kids can learn how to play instruments or want to, not just learn, but want to. But I think that there's a major shift.
Iraq to Korea, he led from the front. Now he lifts others, never just stunts. Hoy es mentor, líder, amigo.
Sup, mi gente? Welcome to the Motivated Mindset. I'm your host, Jose Antonio Flores. I'm a statistic get to there. A pro-Latino born in New York City, straight out of the Bronx, raised in Brooklyn, that New York flavor, mi gente, that hustle, that grit. Oh my God, I'm so excited to be here. You just don't know. But you know what that did? That shape built me, and it still drives everything I do. I'm a combat veteran who probably served for 30 years in the United States Army. And before we get started, mi gente, I want to send out a big, powerful salute to all my veterans, service members, and all my first responders who are listening. Mucho respeto. You already know. You know what I'm saying? And in this new chapter of my life, I wear a few different hats. And I like this cool one. You like that? How you doing? Mira, check this out. I'm a motivational speaker, certified personal trainer, and a certified mediator. And yes, and even an end-of-life death doula. But behind all those titles, right, there's one thing that I do is to serve people, because I know what struggle feels like. I know what pain feels like. And I know what it means to fight your way toward purpose. Every day, my mission, mi misión es simple, to inspire, to uplift, to challenge, to remind people that no matter a donde tú empezaste, where you came from, even the Bronx, Brooklyn, no matter what life throws at you, you can always redefine your life through faith, discipline, and resilience, and relentless drive. That's why this podcast exists, mi gente. Thank you very much. That Motivated Mindset is all about what we talk about: resilience, culture, healing, leadership, discipline, optimism, and the courage it takes to keep moving forward, even when life hits hard. We keep it real here. New York City real, straight talk, Bronx Cuba. How you doing? You've been working out? Check this out, zero sugar coating, and you're going to laugh, you're going to reflect, you're going to get fired up, right? Check this out. You may even shed a tear, not because you're cutting onions. I mean, what I say, well, yeah, anyway. But check this out. You will leave here stronger than when you press that play button, because it isn't about just motivation. This is about transformation. And one last thing before we start, you know, if you vibe, if you like what you hear, what you're seeing, say, man, that's pretty cool beans. And that guy got a cool hat. If this conversation inspires you at the end, if you appreciate interviews, the energy, yay, and the message, all I ask you to do is support our YouTube channel, all our links, hit like, hit subscribe, and share it with somebody who could use a little bit of motivation. Yay, because your support helps me continue us bring powerful guests and meaningful conversations and purpose-driven content straight to you. All right, familia, let's get into it. You know what I'm saying? We're about to bring in somebody, but I got to do this thing I think is so cool. Are we ready? I think we are. Let's do this.
The interview of the week is brought to you by Jersey Mike's, a sub above.
What's up, Cindy? Welcome. Can you hear me, Cindy? Can you hear me? Come on, girl.
Welcome. Hello. I'm here.
Hey, what did you think of that intro? Did you like that intro?
I'm here.
Okay.
Yes, it was awesome. Awesome sauce.
All right. Yeah. You know, we're going to introduce you. I wanted to get straight to it because you are a stupendous individual. Everything you do, we're going to be talking about it on all forms, you know. And I said, you know what? We're going to change it up a little. We're going to see what it is that you got here. because you combine. This is what I know about you. You combine like real world experience with the leadership principle rooted in structure, execution, discipline, and risk management, right? And the same strategy used to manage complex IT program, high-level decision. And I hear that you advocate for something called self-protection 24/7, emphasizing true ownership and not just about financial security. Am I right? Am I right?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Look at that. That's what I'm talking about. And as another thing that I want, you are also a veteran.
Yes.
You are a veteran, so we're going to be talking to some great deep stuff of all your skill sets, but before we get into all those titles and everything, right, people want to know who Cindy is. Who is she? Where you from? Where are you from in the world?
Okay, well, I'm just so I'm Cindy Jordan from Columbus, Ohio. So I grew up in Columbus, Ohio. Went to West High School. I have 2 older sisters and a younger brother. I was the baby for a long time, and I cried when my mother had my brother. So,
oh my goodness.
Yeah, I was the baby crown for 10 years, and then all of a sudden here comes my brother, and I cried. I didn't have that anymore. But yeah, so I'm from Ohio, deep rooted in family values, and community.
All right. And now, how was it growing up, for you, with your brothers and sisters? And did you always have that mindset that one day you want to have your own business, or, what brung you there?
Yeah. So for me, when I grew up, I was kind of always looking for something more. I was always tinkering with electronics. I was always breaking things apart to see how things actually work. And so, but I was also quiet as well when I was growing up. And then eventually I was bitten by the Carlton Sheets bug about real estate. And that kind of switched my mind, because I seen my mom work 2 or 3 jobs, and it was like she worked her fingers to the bone to support us. And I just determined in my mind that I wasn't going to do that. I was going to find some way out so that I could take care of my mother. And then also I wouldn't repeat that cycle of working 2 or 3 jobs and not spending time with your family. And so then, she would clean houses and she would clean buildings. And then I got this light bulb like, hey, why don't I own these buildings that my mom was cleaning in? And so that kind of was the spark into that whole real estate lane.
Because you bring, over 20 years of experience in doing that, which you became the founder of Miss Property Boss. Is that what it is?
Yes. And Property Boss, and Boss stands for building ownership and securing stability. And what really my focus is on, I want to help women make structurally sound decisions in real estate so they can build ownership with clarity, confidence, and without regret.
No, that's stupendous. And was there anybody in your family other than your mom you worked that ever did any kind of real estate or anything or any kind of business at all?
Well, my mom, she was a serial entrepreneur herself. She sold Avon. She was in Avon for the time that I grew up. And so we would go door to door knocking, and she would use us as runners to go deliver Avon. She was a supervisor in the cafeteria. So she always had multiple jobs. And then growing up, my sisters had jobs as well.
And I know one of the things also that, you said that people were doing it when you said people are doing all this wrong, and that you needed to write a book. But before we talk about your book, what did you say? What was going on wrong? What does that look like? Just like, what do you mean by that?
Yeah, sure. To me, what stood out to me was that women weren't struggling because they weren't capable of investing in real estate or real estate wasn't working. They was really struggling because they didn't have any structure in how they made decisions in real estate. You know, they were making decisions while, you know, under pressure or what they saw on social media or what somebody else was doing, and then regretting that later. And you know what? The hard part is, as the women are out there doing this, they didn't realize that they're drifting into this kind of regret until they were already financially or, you know, emotionally committed. And so what, for me, from my background, coming, you know, from the military and then coming from an IT project management and delivery, I'm so used to this structured decision making. I'm so used to, you know, requirements, scope, risk. You know, you have to, there's a process in doing things. And so then I kind of realized, I kind of sat back and realized that, hey, they weren't being, you know, but saying they weren't being applied. And so that's why I kind of wrote the book, to kind of help women to kind of slow down, get clear, and then make decisions that they don't have to recover from.
Okay, we have a comment from Maria, who says Avon reps are the original entrepreneurs, super empowering.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, my mom was in Avon for years. She would get the little porcelain dolls. She has a whole curio case full of porcelain dolls.
Now, which is the one that you get a pink Cadillac? Is that another company?
Right. No, that's Mary Kay. Mary Kay gives you the pink Cadillac.
Okay. I knew somebody got a pink Cadillac out of it and all that. No, that is stupendous. And I want to back up a little bit. When you was in the military, especially the Air Force, does some of that skill set help you prepare for what you're doing now?
Absolutely, because in the military, I was in the administrative part of it, and then I've kind of moved over to the IT when the military kind of changed their AFSC. And then I'm a Mustang, and so I was doing my degree in the evening, and then I was able to get my commission as an officer, and that put me over into the engineering, more of the analytical, more of the process type structure that I have. So I'm like a structure through and through. Coming in the military, you know, when you got to go through boot camp, there's a structure in to get through boot camp. In order to make it to graduation, you have to follow the rules. You have to get up at, you know, an old dark 30. You got to march, and you got to also, you have your fellow airmen that you have to make sure and you look out for it, because everybody has to cross the finish line.
Yes.
And so those are some of the characteristics, you know, that's ingrained in me through and through.
Absolutely. One of the things we get taught in the military, you leave no fallen comrade behind.
Absolutely.
Nobody left behind. We bring it forward. No, that is so important. And I know for me, you know, for somebody getting ready to buy a house, it can be clear as mud.
Yeah. Yes.
You know, because, you know, so like with that being said, you know, what is the let's say what is the moment when most people realize they're about to make a bad real estate decision, but do it anyway, right?
Oh, yes. I get this all the time, because it's usually the moment they stop evaluating the deal, you know what I'm saying, and start justifying it to themselves. That's usually the warning sign. They know that something feels off, but they really allow their emotions to take over. They either get scared about the market. They might have FOMO, fear of missing out, and they kind of move off of the rails. And so I always say that people really don't make bad decisions because they didn't know. They make it because they ignored what they feel, what they felt inside. And so one situation that really stands out to me was that it was involved in a tenant application. So I was, have a rental. It was out on the market. I'm filtering applications. And so we came across this one application that it looked good on the surface. My VA looked at it, reviewed it, the references checked out initially, and even the Zillow report looked clean. And so we had approved it and we had a move-in date. But something in me was like, something is not right. Something is not right. And I mean, this person had already called the utility for the move-in date. But like I said, something was just not right in me. And so I dug a little deeper. And when I verified the employment, I actually called the company's headquarters. Come to find out, the company did not know who the application was. They didn't even know the supervisor that this person had put on their application. And then as I was looking through the screening report from Zillow and then doing my own investigation, Zillow didn't reflect the prior rental payment issues. And so right then I immediately canceled that application, told the person that no, they couldn't move in. And so really, so now since I've gone through that experience, it's like that reinforces me to kind of talk about it often, that we might rush into things, but we need to start evaluating what we're doing, because if we're not, then regret sets in. And can you imagine if I would have let that person into my rental home and how much craziness that I would have had to deal with?
Wow. So you said something about Zillow, about they should have addressed that. That should have been like on the site for the public. Is that correct? I have no idea.
Oh yeah, no, sure. So Zillow has a program where people can apply to your unit, your rental unit, and they do the tenant screening. They do the they do a few they do a background check. They do a credit check. They do some kind of they call it tenant screening. And then as the landlord, they show me the report. And then I have the authority to approve, disapprove, or what have you based upon the application. But for some reason, I don't know why, and this is going to be my standard use case. I don't know why, but Zillow, it didn't pop on Zillow. It didn't pop on Zillow. So I had to go to the actual courthouse to kind of do my own investigation and found out all of these issues that this particular tenant had.
Wow, that is something.
Yes.
I never knew that. It's good to know. That is something. We have a question from Carolina. She's from Iowa, and she says, what safety red flags should buyers look for during walkthrough that most people miss because they'll focus on the aesthetics or price?
Right. So to me, I think that first of all, you have to know your criteria of what you're looking for, and to make sure it's that particular property meets your criteria. And then some of the red flags when you do a walkthrough is from the outside standpoint, you have to stand back in the street and look at the roof. Are there shingles missing? Or are there holes in the roof? Are there gutters? Because if the gutters are gone, then that means there's water that comes down and that has done damage that you can't see. Some other things that you can look at as red flags is look at the electrical system. Has the electrical system been updated? Because some homes now, they still have 2-prong outlets. Well, that's not in that's not in standard. Right now we got 3-prong. We have the GFI outlets, things of that nature. And then just make sure that there is no any type of damage when it comes to wood. How's the floors? How's the walls? Just those types of things. How's the plumbing and the HVAC system?
And I know there's something you can. I forgot the name of the property. You can hire somebody to do a walkthrough to check all that stuff.
Yes, an inspection. Yes, an
Inspection.
inspection. Yes, you definitely will hire. So if you wouldn't necessarily do an inspection until you are for sure that this is what you want to buy, because inspections cost maybe $400 to $600. And so your first kind of walk through, what you want to have is a contractor, your general contractor with you, somebody who you built a relationship, somebody who you know that's going to do the work. So then they can help you as you're walking through. They can point out things and let you know how much damage it is or how much the cost it would be to fix it.
And we talk about well, we got a question from Virginia from Minnesota, and she said, "What red flags can I look at for new builds?" So that's for new builds. I guess that's the question.
Yes, sure. So for new builds, though, you should have a new build warranty, like the builder warranty.
Okay.
Right. And so, but before they build a house, that the builder has to go through various inspections as before they actually the house is ready for occupancy. So you might not find as many red flags there as you would find something that's already been built, that's years old. But I definitely still would look at what's going on in the area, in the surroundings. How's your yard? Do you have because nowadays they're building these houses so scritched together, you don't have any yard, but then you might have a yard that slopes, and it slopes up. So now you got to be concerned, well, okay, when it rains, where's that rain going to go? That rain is going to come down that hill and down to your foundation. So those are some of the things that you need to, you know what I'm saying, that you need to look at.
That is
and then
amazing.
Also what's coming to mind now too is everything level. You can take some marbles with you, believe it or not. And then you can take a marble and put it at one side of the house and see, does that marble move?
That's amazing. No, that's wow. That makes so much sense.
If that marble moves, then something's not level.
That makes perfect sense. And Sally from Los Angeles said that is helpful. That is helpful. That makes so much sense. That's so simple. No, that is stupendous. Oh my God, that is awesome. Wow. The marble. I'm gonna have to, because I used to play marble back in the day, but that's something else.
Yeah.
We're gonna go for a quick commercial break, and then we're gonna talk about opportunities. How do people get into what you've been doing, and what you can offer? So let's look at this quick commercial. We'll be right back.
Let me ask you something. Are you constantly dealing with cravings, feeling like your energy is low all day, struggling with low metabolism, or feeling like stress and cortisol is working against you? And no matter what you try, nothing seems to stick. I'm Coach Coco, and I help women and men aged 35 to 65 take control of their body, take it right back, and we are taking it back naturally. I work with Bye Bye Belly, using powerful plant-based support like our Snatch Juices, Get Snatch Tea, and our Power Shots, to name a few. These amazing products helps to suppress your appetite, stop those cravings, boost your energy, and get your body working like it's supposed to again. But here's what really makes the difference. You're not doing it alone. I guide you, I support you, and I keep you consistent, because that's where the real results come from. So if you're tired of starting over and you're ready to finally feel like yourself again, guess what? I got you. This is the Wellness Mindset. And if you are watching this on Motivated Mindset, say Wellness Mindset when you reach out. I got you. Let's get you back to being you.
Yeah. All right. Hey, so if you need to get rid of your belly, you know who you got to reach out to. Coach Coco, So let me see. I got another question from Hector in Minnesota. He said, what is a piece of advice you'll give to someone starting out in your field today? I don't know if you can hear me.
Today, my advice would, yeah, I can hear you. You went out for a minute, but I think
Yeah.
you asked the question of what pieces of advice can you give somebody new that's starting out?
Yeah, in your field. Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, so to me, it would be all about, do you have determine what your criteria is before you ever go out in the street, start looking at properties.
Mhm.
What is it for you? What does a good deal look like for you? How is it going to fit in your goals? What is going to be your strategy? You know, what are the numbers? And it's what we refer to in investment called our buy box, because we have to get clear before we start looking, because if we don't, whatever we look like looks like a good deal. And then if you don't slow down and start evaluating whatever you're looking at based upon your criteria, then everything looks like a good deal. And then you end up buying something that it didn't fit your criteria in the first place.
Wow, no, that makes perfect sense. Absolutely. And you know, when we talk about let's say when people say I'm ready to invest, you know, actually means beyond just having money. Is that, you know, what is there more to that? Say, oh, I got the money, I'm ready to invest. You know, is there any more to that? You might be breaking out. Would you able to hear me, Cindy?
Okay, wait a minute, it's breaking up.
Sorry.
Can you, no, I didn't. Can you repeat that?
Yeah. So when people say, how can someone, you know, like when people say I'm beginning ready to invest, actually mean beyond just having money, you know, what all does that entail? Also, I got money, can I invest? Was he able to hear me? I know we maybe have it sometime the internet comes in and out.
Here.
Could you hear me, Cindy? It's okay. We'll keep it moving. We'll keep it moving. Was he able? Could you hear me now?
Okay, can you repeat that? We were going in and out.
Yeah, absolutely. So the question was like, how, you know, when people talk about they're ready to invest, you know, and their money ready, is there more to that than just having the money when they're ready to invest? What else should they be looking at?
Okay, yeah, sure. Because readiness is less, really, readiness is less about money, but it's about clarity and preparation. Are you prepared? You know, strategy, are you going to go? Are you going to be a wholesaler? Are you going to be buy and hold? Are you going to be fix and flip? And then understand your numbers that go along with that. What's your price point for the property that you're looking at? And then what's your criteria? Like criteria, meaning, you know, what type of property is it? Is it going to be a 3-bedroom, 1-bath duplex? You know, are you looking for something that's $100,000 or, you know, that sort of thing? Because if those things are not in place, again, that's okay, because maybe it's not your time yet, but we want to make sure that we get prepared, because that is what protects you from regret. Unlike other gurus out there where they say just got the money. No, with me, I'm all about preparation and, you know, and clarity. And then on that note, for me, when it comes to readiness, is that one example that I have is that there was an owner finance opportunity that came my way because it was in the same neighborhood that I was already in investing. I already owned property. So I already understood my numbers. I already understood the, you know, the area, I already understood my strategy. So I could evaluate that opportunity, you know, without emotion getting involved. I looked at the numbers. And so it made sense for me to go forward with that opportunity. So readiness, again, is just not about money. It's about having your clarity to recognize if something actually fits your specific goals and not nobody else's.
Wow, no, that is really good to know. You know, sometimes, you know, people get emotional or fear. How does that come into play? Because I know that's like probably the biggest investment any of us are making, but how do those things come into play, you know?
Yeah, sure. Because a lot of times emotion does lead us into making bad choices, because fear, when we have fear, we want to rush through things, right? And then when we have excitement, you know, we're overlooking the details because, oh, we're excited, we found a property. But then, like some of the questions in the chat was talking about red flags.
Yes.
But if we're so excited, we'll overlook those red flags, right? And then we fall into this comparison trap. What somebody else is doing, what we're seeing in social media, what we're seeing online, and then that causes us to kind of deviate from our plan and our strategy. So it's not about, so for me, it's not about removing emotion. It's about having the guardrails, having your structure in place that would keep you grounded and on the road. So when your emotions show up and wants to elbow you and say, I want to drive, you don't veer off the road. You stay on the road because you have structure to help you stay there.
Yes, yes. Wow. And, you know, has there ever been one, how you call it, real estate decision you've seen that made you think, yeah, we're going to regret that later? Could you hear me? I know we're getting, but we, you know, did you hear me on that one, Cindy? We're having a little bit of delay. Yeah. Did you hear the last question I said?
Yes, I did. I'm laughing, and my eyes are tearing up.
Well, I do that to people. It's okay.
But okay. Yes, but anytime anytime anyone says I'll figure out after I buy it, that's when I get concerned, because then you're moving faster than your plan. And so real estate to me is one of those things that you have to be clear before. You have to be clear before and not reactive later. And then I have a story on this one too about, you know, having regret later because you don't slow down. Is that one of the houses that I bought it getting a contractor walk through first, and without really understanding and evaluating the area. So, you know, I moved too fast. I underestimated the rehab cost because, you know, I didn't have enough information, but I was excited. I was moving forward. You know, I was trying to figure it out. This is why I teach people that they're going to have to slow down, you know, and get the clarity beforehand, because in real estate, you know, it gets expensive when we have assumptions that replace due diligence.
Yeah. And we have a comment. Cindy from Los Angeles says, great advice on having our guardrails, because I confuse fear and intuition, especially with big decisions like investing in a property. She said, thank you. So yeah, that is a big thing. And you also talk
you're
about—
welcome. You're most welcome.
She like, yeah, Cindy. I love Los Angeles.
Like I was saying with you. Oh, yeah, and like I said, with real estate, we're not trying to remove emotion, because that's a natural part of who we are, right? We just need things in place that help us through those emotions. When we know and we can recognize like, hey, I'm fearful on this. Well, why are you? Let's take a step back and say, okay, well, why? What are you feeling in your gut? What is your intuition telling you? That's telling you maybe you know what I'm saying, that you need to kind of slow down a little bit. Because if it's a good deal, then it's going to be a good deal after you slow down and look at it more clearly.
Good. And Cindy, you also talk about safety and protection. And why is that something people don't think about when they're focused on building wealth?
I think we're frozen.
Yeah. Can you hear me? Could you hear me? Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now. I can hear you now.
Yeah. So the question was, you also talk about safety and protection. And why is that something that people don't think about when they're focused on building wealth? All right. Did it come through?
Yeah, this is so key to me and personal to me. Yes. This safety is so key and personal to me because I have girls. And ownership isn't about just financial, it's about physical and personal as well. You know, we as women, we're in these situations where, you know, awareness matters. Just take a look at the news. I mean, women are getting brutally attacked. You know what I'm saying? And then as investors, we're showing up to meet these contractors. We're showing up to these empty properties. We're in these unfamiliar, you know what I'm saying? I need us to kind of think that wealth building and protection go together, because we got to protect our money, we got to protect our property, and we got to protect our body. And so, you know, that's why protection really matters, you know, because if we're not involved, then there goes our wealth. You know what I'm saying? Helps you preserve those options. Okay. And like I was saying, that I have 2 girls, you know, and my girls are off to college, you know, and there's some strange things that happen, you know, even with my daughter in college. She was in a medical school program, and come to find out, the guy that's in medical school, he got for sex trafficking. He's in medical college.
Wow.
But he still got picked up for sex trafficking. So, like I said, well, that's why I'm telling you, as women, we have to protect ourselves.
And what is self-protect 24/7 from asked by Johnny from Texas?
What you say now?
Yeah, what is Johnny from Texas says, what is self-protect 24/7?
Yes, self-protect 24/7 is, I'm a representative of Damsel in Defense. And what Damsel in Defense is a we sell non-lethal safety protection, personal protection. It's where you can get pepper spray. The pepper spray has dye in it, so that if an attacker comes upon you, you spray them with this UV dye, and the police can find your attacker under black light, right? So they are, you know, they'll be tagged. And then we also have this is a stun device, and then a false multiplier. So self-protection 24/7 is just I would say complimentary service that I provide, especially for women and young girls and young boys, that when we're out and about, we have to make sure that we are protecting ourselves and understand what's going on around us.
All right. Cool. Yeah, we have a question from Tammy from DC, and she said, what is the biggest misconception about non-lethal safety tools, and how do you break the stigma during your sessions, you know, when you're talking to people? There's a little bit of delay, but I think you got it.
Oh, let's see.
Yeah. Did you hear the question about misconceptions?
Yeah, you're breaking that. What was the question?
Yeah. The question is, what is the biggest misconception about
No, I didn't. Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah. What is the biggest misconception about non-lethal safety tools, and how do you break the stigma during your session? Tammy from DC.
Yeah, so the stigma to me is that people, for women, we don't necessarily think we need it, or we have our safety tools down in our purses. But if you're ever in a situation where you need it, you don't have time to dig through your purse to find it. And so I think also the misconception is, if you are ready, then you need to stay ready, right? You have the confidence that you're ready, and it's always at your fingertips, because it's not about with my personal safety, it's about giving you enough chance to get distance so you can get away, because sometimes you're not going to be able to stand there to defend yourself. It's not about standing there to defend yourself. It's about a time making enough disruption in the attacker, so that you can get enough distance, so then you can get away. But yeah, okay. And I think it's just the misconception is that we don't need it.
Okay. Well, let's go into how people can contact you and some of the stuff you got. How'd that sound?
Okay, sure. Okay, sure. No problem.
So it's all you.
So what you're seeing here, I have several, websites, but it kind of leads to this. Okay, sure. I have a few websites, but it all kind of leads into two the services that I provide. This is my main website, Miss Property Boss. And so from here, if you want to go to this website, and if you scroll down in the middle of the screen, it'll give you a real estate readiness check, an investor readiness check. And so this is, you answer a few questions, and then we kind of meet up, and then I can kind of give you whether or not where you are really on the investor readiness spectrum. And this is my social media. If you want to go to my meet me on Facebook. And then this is my Instagram page. If you want to meet me on Instagram, at Miss Property Boss, and then at I am Cindy Jordan. And this is my LinkedIn. You can find me on LinkedIn as well. I am Cindy Jordan on LinkedIn. And then also, if you're interested in getting the book, Real Estate Investing Without Regret, it's on Amazon in the Kindle version as well as the print version.
Cool.
And then lastly, this website here is Real Estate Without Regret. This is mainly about the book. And if you want to meet up with me to have a free session, a 30-minute clarity call, or a 90-minute session where we kind of do a deep dive into if you're ready to start real estate investing. And then here is what some people are saying, that it's a great program, great to work with. And then you have two options here on this website, is the clarity call, which is a free 30-minute session with me where we kind of go through what your goals are in real estate, any obstacles. We can kind of discuss your obstacles. And then after the call, you will walk away with your next best step for you in your situation. And then the other 90-minute session, that's a paid session for a nominal fee. But that whole 90 minutes, we kind of work through and do a deep dive into your situation. We give you a 30-day roadmap. You'll have step-by-step instructions on what you need to do to hit the ground running in the next 30 days after the call.
So this is really cool. So somebody should see you before they even think about putting money down or buying anything, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because if they're not clear on what they're doing, it's going to lead to regret. If they have questions, or if it's still foggy, or if they're trying to find, if they're trying to follow somebody on social media, again, I think that they would then fall into that comparison trap because it's not tailored to them. Everybody's situation is different. So what you might see on a highlight reel or a snapshot online, that's not their complete situation. And I don't want people to make decisions based upon that. So it's best that you see somebody, even if it's not me, that you really take the time to slow down, again, get clear before you make any type of decisions when it comes to real estate.
No, this is good. This is awesome. Let's see what we got here. And what they'll learn.
Absolutely. So again, what they'll learn, we kind of just went over that. It just depends on what sessions that you want, right? Where the 30-minute session is just a kind of a high level. We kind of look into your situation, and then you'll know what your best next step would be. And then sometimes it's not to go right out there and purchase property. And that's okay, because everybody is not ready. And then in the 90-minute session, it would be more of a deep dive, more of a personalized look into you and your situation and what strategy would be best for you to get started.
Cool beans. And
all right. And these are the QR codes if you want to reach me on LinkedIn, Instagram, or Facebook.
Oh, this is stupendous. This is stupendous. And
yes,
this is awesome. And we got a couple of some more questions that we have from people, but no,
sure.
And I'll put this back up again. But we had a question from Johnny. I think it says, what is this? Minnesota. He said, what was your biggest failure and what did you learn from it?
Yeah, my biggest failure to me was not starting sooner. When I got started, real estate, I was infatuated by real estate, right? I was in all the classes, all the boot camps, but I really never took the time out to say, this is my strategy. This is my criteria, because then everything was still fuzzy. And because it was fuzzy, I wasn't moving forward. I spent years and tons of money in classes before I finally said no. What really made me get started was a life circumstance. And then that was my entry into, I need to find a house. I need to buy a house. And I still have that house today. Wow, so I think that was my biggest. Yeah, because I spent tons of money without nothing to show for it.
Yeah. And the email that will show hello@mspropertyboss.com, that's a good way to get a hold of you, Cindy, also?
Yes, that is.
And as we come down to the time, I want to give you any last couple of minutes, any last words, anything else that maybe we didn't cover. You just want to make sure people who are interested, let's say in housing or even self-protection, that you would like to tell our audience.
Yeah, so it's just like I said, my focus really is on helping people really, slow down, and get clear on what it is that they want when it comes to wealth building. You know, we don't have to move at the pace of everybody else. We don't have to move at the pace of what our friends are doing or what we see online, because it's really about you. What type of wealth do you want to build? What type of legacy do you want to build? And I think that that's how I kind of differentiate myself. And I differentiate myself with a lot of structure involved. Because like I said earlier, emotions is going to get involved. You're going to get excited to look at these properties, but you want to make sure in that excitement, you know what it is that you're looking for. So you can find me on all social media channels. I'm here to help. And then also for self-protection, I'm here to help with that as well.
And Cindy, do you have any upcoming expos, anything you'll be attending in the future that you can, coming up?
Yeah, no, not right now on my schedule. I'm always looking. So reach out to me if there's an expo on safety or health and wellness or real estate that you would want me to attend. Just reach out to me. But right now, I don't have any upcoming expos at the moment.
All right. If we have any more questions, I'll give everybody a minute. But ladies and gentlemen, just please, you got the QR codes there. I think this is an excellent way. You might have somebody, a young person in your life, family member, before they go out there and spend that money, reach out to Cindy, and you never know how that might change somebody to say, man, I'm glad that I like the marbles. That was stupendous. I'm sorry, I can't get over that marble thing. That's just like, what? But hey, reach out to Cindy, and if for any questions, when it comes to safety, real estate buying, or anything like that, Cindy, you've dropped some golden nuggets. You dropped some great information. I wish I knew when I got ready to buy my house, but I used the VA and they did their process, And can you talk a little bit, in case we have any veterans, how does the VA, how does that work? For somebody, I know things have changed.
Yeah, I know things have changed, but I know like the house, my primary residence that I'm in is the VA. But what the VA does, it guarantees. So my lender is not the VA. My lender was PennyMac, but the VA guarantee is like a guarantor of the loan that PennyMac is giving you to purchase your house. Right. And so with the VA, there's a kind of a limit on how much house that you can afford. I think also with the some of the I haven't looked at it in a while, and I think that you can kind of reuse your VA too if you've been in if you want to kind of scale up. I think that you can reuse your VA as well. Yep. So VA is always available. I am a VA user. Like I said, my primary residence that I'm in now is a VA backed loan.
Cool beans. Well, I don't see any more questions from our audience here. I just want to double check. Yep, we got everybody in. We have people from all over the state, Iowa, California. I'm like, what? That is stupendous. So, hey, we're going to be spreading this around.
Well, wow. That's great.
Hey, we had to reach out.
That's wonderful.
And we got
that's wonderful.
We got Charlie from New Orleans saying thank you. Great information. They'll be using this. So I just want to say thank you for dropping this. And if something comes up in the future, you got some, please reach out to us and we can definitely advertise it. we got Bob from Minnesota. He said, I'm going to buy some marbles. I love it. I
mean, because if it's uneven, then you got foundation issues, and that's money.
That is good. Cindy, thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for dropping that information. And ladies and gentlemen, thank you everybody for giving great questions. And we'll be watching for you, Cindy. Thank you so much. All right.
Okay. All right. Great. All right. Thanks so much. I enjoyed it.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in to Military Broadcast Radio. As we wrap up today's show, we want to remind you that the podcast of today's episode will be available right after we go off the air. So if you missed any part of the show or want to listen again, be sure to check it out. And remember, we're here to support and honor our veterans. Your stories and experiences matter, and we are committed to giving you a platform to share them. That's right. We're here to give our veterans a voice. So don't forget to catch the podcast and stay connected with us. Giving our veterans a voice.